On this episode of This Is Game Boy, we get Froggy.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to This Is Game Boy, the show where everything is about Game Boy and nothing else matters. On tonight's show, more salty than your average variety of nut mixes, Moelle, the biggest Shaquille O'Neal fan besides Shaq himself, possibly with the same amount of brain damage, eBloodyCandy. And special guest, he's pretty sweet, but is he really sweet? Gran and Hero. Let's have some fun. Alright.
Oh, man.
let's let's actually get, for the people who don't know what that was, by the way, that's how whose line is this anyways, do their intro. So I kind of wanted to try that out, and it went pretty well, besides the little screw up, which you won't hear, of course, because Lex hopefully has cut that out, especially because I swear there. But yeah, we're back with another episode of This Is Game Boy. Hello, everybody. How are you two doing?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. What about yourself?
I'm doing pretty fine. What about you, Hero?
I'm doing alright. I didn't overslept for the podcast.
Well, that's like pretty hard for us because it's like way in the afternoon.
I almost did.
Yeah, thanks.
By the way, apparently it's daylight savings time, so thanks PLD for that.
Yeah, PLD, you are always the one to blame for that, so thank you. Luckily, we did it last week. We were actually gonna record this last week, so you could have slept like an hour longer even. But we had a little hiccup, or at least I had a little hiccup. I got laryngitis, which you might have been able to tell from the previous episode, the light episode, the Halloween special. My voice was totally cracking out here and there, and it was been going on for over a month already, and then one day I woke up and I couldn't speak anymore, so yeah, I had to go to the doctor, and I had a virus infection on my vocal cords, and yeah, I was pretty much wrecked for almost an entire week. Actually, it just got better, to be fair. Anyways, what have you been up to while I was sick, EBC?
Well, I recorded my light episode the day we were supposed to record.
All right.
So stay tuned for that one. I don't know when that comes out. Legs tells me. I see the tweet and I'm like, oh, okay. Let's see, what else? Red Dead 2. Been playing a lot of Red Dead 2 lately. Just because that just came out. Beat Assassin's Creed Odyssey, beat Assassin's Creed 2. Looking forward to Pokemon. Other than that, Froggy Game a little bit just for this recording. And did some Game Boy Adventure stuff. We did Rodland, Magnetic Soccer, which is probably the greatest game of all time. And I think we did a couple others. I can't remember off the top of my head. So, what about you, Hero?
Well, seeing how Tiny 10 is just 1 week away when we're recording this, I mostly play the Tiny 10 games when I got time to spare. I'm getting confident in game like Max and Out of Gas now that have caused me some trouble. So race day is due to happen very soon.
Nice, yeah. Yeah, Out of Gas is a very unique game. It's not overly difficult, but you really need to understand the controls for that game.
Yeah, it's very easy to like bleed just a couple of minutes in that short amount of time you play the game, if you just get sloppy.
Yeah.
I mean, if you play Crayon Shin-chan, not much thing can go wrong. You just run to the right and you will probably finish within 30 seconds of the fastest player anyways.
Yeah.
If you screw up something.
It's the same with Max too, even. Like with Max, like if you fall down into a pit, it's like you don't die unless you fall down the pit like 7 times. So
yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. And hey, I'm almost done with the SNES Classic Mini challenge on my Twitch channel as well. I'm on the last game right now. Super Mario World got picked last. What are the odds? No, it's a great game.
It is a pretty great game, but it's been played so many times by so many people. I think probably everybody was more excited to see some other games. Not that on the Super Nintendo Classic there are that many games that people have never seen before, of course, but
Right.
yeah, I would also like to... I would actually start with Super Mario World just to get it over with, because that's probably a game everybody has played a million times before. Yeah.
Yeah, I was really excited to see you play Kirby Superstar, because I'm personally not a huge fan of that game, but I know people just adore that game. So I was very curious to see like you play it and hear your thoughts of that game. So
yeah, I don't like Kirby Superstar. It's a very strange game with strange mini games.
Yeah, I don't like the samurai game. That game's dumb. the only mini game of Superstar that I like is Spring Breeze, because it's literally KDL with color.
Yeah,
that's the only reason I like it.
And even shorter.
Mm-hmm. Cool. What have you been up to, Mo?
Yeah, right before I got laryngitis, I actually did one game, like a combination of my Spooktober stream and Portable Pleasure stream. So I played Dr. Franken, which was surprisingly a pretty fun game, even though it controls very poorly. It doesn't have the best graphics or anything, but I actually really enjoyed playing through that game. For anybody who doesn't know that game, it's I talked a little bit about it during the Halloween special, and I mentioned it then that I hadn't played it myself. But it's like a kind of adventure exploration platformer, I would say, where you have access to some parts of the castle, and you have to get an item to actually get to other parts, and so on until you find all the pieces of your bride, pretty much, and then you have to like put her back together and make her come back alive, which you don't even see. The ending is very abrupt, where you just see the lightning hit the machine, and then suddenly it's over. So yeah, that was a really fun game. And due to being sick, I couldn't do anything. I had to stay home from work as well, because I couldn't speak. So I just did some really chill streams without mic, without cam, where I was playing Dragon Quest XI, because I finally got time to actually play that. I was hoping to finish it during my week of absence from work and everything else, but the game is incredibly long. Like, I was not expecting this at all, and not in a boring way either. It's like, just the story keeps on going, and it keeps you interested throughout the entire thing. But like, I'm almost 80 hours in right now, and I'm what they call a post game. It's like you get the credits after Act 2, but there's more after that. Actually, the story really continues with some stuff they set up during the first 2 acts. So yeah, I'm still trying to beat that game, but this is probably now one of my favorite RPGs of all time. It's just amazing. I think everybody should play it if you have enough time, because it's definitely a 75-hour to 100-hour game. So even I don't really have the time to play those games anymore. But yeah, I will beat it soon, hopefully. I'll do my best. Besides that, more Binding of Isaac, still trying to complete that game as well. I think I spent already 1,000 hours on that game, and it will only be more in the future when the expansions come out. So that game will forever be in my life. And last, I'm kind of playing through Symphony of the Night, the Requiem version that just came out on PS4, together with one Rondo of Blood. Just playing through that game again. This is like the 10th time or something I'm playing through that game. It's still pretty fun. The achievements in it are actually pretty fun to get, because they ask you to do some stuff you normally wouldn't do, or that you wouldn't even know that's in the game. But yeah, it's just a chill time. I did spend an hour trying to get the Chrysogrim earlier. Not because it wouldn't drop, but it dropped 3 times, and every time I got hit out of the room, so it despawned. that was really starting to work on my nerves. But yeah, after an hour, I finally got one.
Such a classic.
Yeah. So with the Requiem, is that just like a straight remake of Symphony of the Night and Rondo of Blood, or is it just like ports from what they were, it just like a combined disc basically, or combined?
Yeah, it's a download only. It's not on disc or anything, sadly. Because I would love to, just have a physical copy. But it's a port of actually the PSP versions of Symphony of the Night and Rondo of Blood.
That's too bad.
Well, it is bad in some way because, like, Symphony of the Night doesn't have the very awful voice acting and mistranslations, so...
what is a man?
Yeah, that's sadly not in it. But that version is actually the original version, and that version with What is a Man was the port for the American audience, and they changed a few things in that. So this is the original version, at least.
Be curious if Konami's ever gonna like remake some of the old Castlevania games. I doubt it. They hate us, so.
Yeah, Konami's not like the best company in the world right now when it comes to video games. I was already surprised they would release something like this. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I'm totally into Castlevania right now because I watched a few videos about the timeline on YouTube, and it showed some games that I've never played before, and I kind of want to get them, but they're all like 70 or 80 euros to get them. It's crazy. I'll try and get them, but they're really expensive.
Yeah, that Castlevania timeline is something else. Now you throw the anime into the mix, and it's just like the anime covers like Castlevania 3 to start, and I think they're like gonna try and bleed into Symphony of the Night, and it's like, oh, okay. Yep. Have fun.
Yeah, well, I don't know how they were gonna do Symphony of the Night, and then they have to do a real big time skip in between. Because, yeah, the anime is about Trevor, at least.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still waiting for my Silent Hill remake, so...
Yeah, good luck with that.
It will never happen.
Nope.
Capcom's been doing a good job, at least, though. New Mega Man, they got the Legacy Collections... Resident Evil 2 remake in a couple months. Like, Capcom has been doing something, at least, instead of Street Fighter 13,683.
Yeah, and good news. Resident Evil 4 is finally coming to Switch. Because that's definitely what everybody was waiting for.
Everything needs to be on Switch.
But they released, like, the original Resident Evil and Zero as well. Or, well, the Resident Evil remake, that is.
Yeah, but yeah, it's Resident Evil 4 again on another system. It's available on anything from toasters to new consoles. It's crazy.
But it's handheld now, Mo. Toasters aren't handheld. Those are supposed to fix your bread.
It's like the whole Diablo thing. Like, everyone was so mad that Diablo was going to Switch, and it's like, yeah, whatever. Now you can play it on the toilet, do whatever you want.
Yeah, but
just like Mo.
Yeah, just like me. I do that every time. Yeah, but now they can be mad about something else about Diablo because now they're releasing a mobile game, so they can start whining about that now.
Yeah, they have already.
Yeah.
Oh boy! All right, so when we come back, we're gonna be talking about for the frog, the bell tolls. I'm gonna butcher this Japanese game, but Keru no Tame ni Kane wa Naru.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Alright, welcome back everybody. So yeah, the frog for who the bell tolls, because we're not going to say the Japanese name the entire time. Cool little game, honestly. It only came out in Japan, 1992 of September. But they did make a translation, well, they, as in a fan of the game, made a localized translation ROM hack for English in July of 2011, so a few years ago. And then obviously a 3DS release was of this game in 2012. So there's a developer from Intelligent Systems I actually have never. I guess I don't pay attention much to the devs when it comes to games, but like I'd never heard of these guys. But apparently they've done like pretty big things like Metroid and WarioWare and Paper Mario and such. I'm just like, never heard of you guys, but sweet games. Have you guys heard of them at all?
Not by name, no. Can't say I have.
Are you referring to Intelligent Systems?
Yeah.
I think I heard their name when the 3DS Fire Emblem Awakening came. Because I'm pretty sure those are the guys behind that game series up to this day.
Yeah, they are. I just didn't okay. Well, that's crazy that we didn't hear like the actual name until like the 3DS, because Fire Emblem's been around for a while.
Yeah, and I would never thought that WarioWare had the same producers or developers.
Or Metroid,
Fire Emblem, and Metroid.
Yeah,
super strange.
It's crazy. And then the composer. By the way, people listening, like this is like one of the first games that we've had so much information about a composer.
Yeah, that's usually something that's really hard to find, but this was easy.
Yeah, Kazumi Totaka is the composer behind this game, and did you guys know he voice acted Yoshi?
When I looked it up, yeah, I saw that. But yeah, he's a pretty well known name actually in the business. A lot of composers outside of the gaming industry also know him, so he's a pretty big name. Like I'm never super interested in the composers, so it's always fun when I look something up and it's like, ooh. These people know their business.
Yeah, I mean, he's done a lot, like Super Mario Land 2, great game. Wario Land for Virtual Boy, Mario Paint. Like, Mario Paint was awesome. It had that little, like, tune section you can make your own songs in.
Yeah, I never played it.
Yeah, and then obviously he directed a lot of songs as well. Link's Awakening. Wow, my voice is cracking now. Link's Awakening, Pikmin, Animal Crossing, he has a pretty large arsenal of games that he's done for Nintendo.
A cool trivia about Totaka though is in like every soundtrack he have made, he puts something in it that he calls Totaka's song. That's a short 19-note tune, just hidden somewhere in the game. It was first discovered on the title screen, Mario Paint. I don't remember what you're supposed to do there, but if you do like funny little things or just wait it out, you will hear his little tune, and it's always the same in every game. I think one of his latest is in Mario Kart for the Nintendo Switch. Should be the same in the Wii U version, and on a stage where all the Yoshis are hopping around by the side of the track and just cheering on you. If you drive up to one of them, you can actually hear one of the Yoshis just humming that Totaka song. So it's pretty cool that he hides this tune in like every game he has done music for. Have any of you guys picked up one of his song in one of the games?
I haven't. No, I've played most of the games on his list, but I've never played. I've never went out of my way to like see if the song was different than anything else.
Yeah, I can like I didn't look it up or something for this podcast, so I haven't heard it yet. I'm not sure if it's super familiar or anything that I would immediately recognize it. But yeah, it's really cool that people put stuff like that in the game. I really like it when you have to like go really deep to find something hidden throughout different series and stuff like that, but it's always like his signature for somebody who worked on the game. That's pretty cool. Even though this Totaka song was actually first discovered in Mario Paint, it originated in actually a Game Boy game called X. That's probably a game nobody has ever heard of. It's not well known or anything. And that game came out 2 months before Mario Paint, so that's the earliest they could have found the Totaka song. So that's pretty cool that it also originated on Game Boy actually.
Yeah, and I think it was with X is like if you waited like a minute or like 2 minutes on the title screen is when like the song would actually play too. Like it was just something like the only way you'd ever hear it by accident is if you just like walked away from your Game Boy and left it on, type deal.
Yeah, that's always pretty cool to see. Alright, enough talk about the people behind the game. Let's talk a little bit about the game itself. And a good starting point, of course, is what is this game actually about? So I'll get through the plot for this pretty quickly. In a land far away, the true princess, Richard of the Custard Kingdom, and the game main's protagonist, who's an unnamed character actually, the Prince of the Sablé Kingdom, have shared a friendly rivalry since they were small children. They often compete, although it usually ends in a tie or a close win. In fencing, however, Prince Richard is always the victor. One day a messenger arrives from a small neighboring kingdom, warning the princess that the evil King Dalaran and his Crokian army have invaded the Mi-Fai kingdom and captured the beautiful Princess Tiramisu. In yet another boastful attempt to best the Sablé Prince, Richard grabs a boat and rushes towards the kingdom. The Sablé Prince is left trying to catch up. While on his journey, he and Richard, along with others, are transformed into frogs in an attempt to reveal the true happenings in this kingdom. And yeah, that's pretty much also where the title of the game stems from. During the course of the game, you actually find out that there is something called the Spring Bell, that whenever it gets rung, everybody who turned into a frog will be turned back into humans. So that's why, for the frog, the bell tolls.
Huh.
So if this would happen in our world, if everyone was turned into a frog, we wouldn't make it, because I'm pretty sure we don't have that anti-frog bell thingy somewhere in the world.
I don't know. Maybe it's hidden somewhere.
Like I own. So fun fact, I own this game. I own a complete in-box copy of this game, and like I even took my phone, my phone. Like if you take a picture of like text, it would translate to English, but the Google translation's so bad that I still didn't know what the plot was. Google translated in the back of the box. So like I've played the game 2.5 times now. I've played it twice completely through on English, and half of a time through Japanese. I tried to go as far as I could in the Japanese version before I got completely lost. And I honestly could not tell you what the plot. I knew the plot was something about saving a person, turning into a frog, turning into a snake, and that's it. Like that's all I knew about the plot of this game.
Yeah, the English translation pretty much tells it at the start of the game, but if you don't pay much attention to it, it kind of gets lost for sure. Also, just like any other RPG, if you do not talk to every person in town, you kind of miss plot points and here and there. So yeah, that's definitely what can happen if you just play through the game and never take the time to read everything that the game says to you. It's a pretty simple plot, really. Nothing big.
I don't know. That's how I am. Like I don't really read things. I'd much rather just have other people read it for me. So unless Game Boy Adventure, I'll read through the stuff and pretend to voice act. But for the most part, like I don't read through stuff in RPGs. I just plow through the game. And then if I get lost, then I go back to town and like talk to people. But
yeah,
I don't know. Cool plot, I guess. Little unique. I mean, you're still saving a princess, a princess at the end of it. So definitely a not unique storyline there, but unique in the sense that you turn into frogs and whatnot, and you have a bell that turns you back to a human.
Yeah, it's not based on anything, as far as I could find. Again, this is a Japanese-only game, and even though there is a lot of information about this game out there, because it's one of probably the biggest hidden gem on Game Boy that never came out in America or in Europe, it's still hard, of course, to find any information that might have been written in Japanese and that got released.
Yeah.
I couldn't find a single thing about it. As far as I know, it's not based on anything. It's just a a very original story. The title itself comes from a book, and now I can't remember the name. For Whom the Bell Tolls, I think. Is it just that? It's like a pretty
there's a Metallica song called that too.
That's also based on that book, yeah, indeed. But
maybe the song is based off of the book and the game is based off of the song.
I doubt it. I really doubt it.
Maybe the developers are really into Metallica.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like with the Mega Man X series with all the bosses from Guns N' Roses and stuff like that.
Yeah. You have Axel, yeah. I don't know. Fun fact though about this game is a lot of people compared this to Link's Awakening. Like even if they didn't play the game and just watched people play it or saw screenshots, they were like, "Wow, this looks a lot like Link's Awakening." Well, Link's Awakening actually came out after this game, and the engine for Link's Awakening came from this game. So there are going to be a ton of similarities between the two. And another fun fact for you Smash Brother people out there, especially after seeing Kirby live through the entire annihilation of the kingdom, the main protagonist of Froggy Game is an assist trophy in Smash Brothers for 3DS and Wii U under the name Sable. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes, Sable.
Yeah, so that was kind of cool that they put that into a Smash Brothers game.
Yeah, it's pretty cool that this character actually gets portrayed in a lot of other games. Like, everybody knows the part in Link's Awakening where you find a prince who's been locked out of his castle, and there's frogs in his room, and you have to go find 5 golden leaves to get the key to the next dungeon, blah blah blah, doesn't matter. But that guy actually is the other main character from this game. So Prince Richard from for the Frog the Bell Tolls. So not the guy you're playing as, but the other guy. So yeah, he was put in that game, of course, because it was made by the same people and was a little not. But of course, that got lost to a lot of the audiences outside of Japan, because this game, maybe 5 years ago, this game was not known at all to anybody. So.
Yeah, no. Apparently, they were going to make a DX version of this game too, weren't they?
Yeah, they were going to release it in 2002, but it never got released. Maybe it has been completed, like some of the other games, like that Battletoads game that never got released, or even if you people have heard about the Lost Vanilla Ice game, those are games that actually got completed but just never got released, so they're just lost somewhere on somebody's computer. Hopefully we will in the future be able to access these types of games, but yeah, maybe it's the same for this game, that they actually have it completed but never released it. So
I wonder why. Go ahead, Hero. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just referring to other unreleased games. It was just a couple of months ago that we got the South Park Game Boy Color game as well. Yeah. Somebody hit up one of the producers, and he had it on his computer, and now we can finally play it.
That is true. Maybe when they make a Game Boy Classic, they'll have all this stuff on there for us.
I doubt it. I do wonder what a list ever is gonna be if they make a Game Boy Classic.
Oh, it's gonna be bad.
It's gonna be pretty awful. Because it's just gonna be all those games that everybody has played 700 million times.
It's gonna be like Metroid 2, Kirby's Dream Land, Super Mario Land 2. Name some
Pokemon.
Yeah, one of the Pokemons will be on there at least. Name. I see Game Boy. Name like 15 other games that are popular within the library. You know.
But then again, seeing the games on the SNES Classic Mini and the NES Classic Mini compared to the PlayStation Classic, we are getting better games on the Nintendo consoles.
Yeah, the PlayStation Classic was such a letdown. I was a little bit excited for it. I'm like, oh, PlayStation Classic, that could be cool. And then I saw the games and I'm like, wow, this sucks.
Yeah, and the Japanese console got like Darius Gaiden, and Parasite Eve.
Yeah.
So we got
hosed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fun fact, what they screwed up yet again, Sony. If you're listening to this, I can't believe you did this. Parasite Eve never got a release in Europe. It only got released in Japan and got released in America. Then they put it on the PlayStation Network for everybody to download, except for Europe. Still no available way to actually play that game for us. Now you release a PlayStation Classic. Best opportunity ever to put that thing on there so that everybody can play it. Again, it's only for Japan. It's unbelievable how some people think. It's crazy.
No one likes Parasite Eve. It's only the best PS1 game in the world.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I still can't get it. Because I wasn't thinking about that, but then PLD said, oh yeah, Japan gets Parasite Eve at least. And I was like, wait.
God, it's so good. So good. So yeah. I guess when we come back here, we're gonna give our thoughts and history with the game. We'll start with Hero since he hasn't done too much talking and my voice hurts already. So yeah, when we come back, get ready for that. Alright, welcome back everybody from that nice little break we had there. So, thoughts and history with the game. Here, I'm going to have you go first because I watched you play this game on your stream.
Yeah, as both of you, I didn't know anything about this game about, say, 5 years ago. In Sweden, there is like one single video game magazine still running around. Nowadays, I think they released one magazine every third month or something like that. But this magazine actually goes back to the NES days when it first had its name Nintendo Magasinet, the Nintendo magazine. Later on, it became it merged with another magazine and became the magazine Super Power. And then it changed name again to Superplay, and yet again it changed name to another magazine, and nowadays it's called Level. The good thing about all these magazine names is that everyone in the world can understand why and what it means.
It went from like 8 complicated names to one simple one.
Yeah, now it's just Level. And the fun part about a couple of years with this magazine was that like 80% of the magazine was new stuff, the stuff you have already read about on the internet, new game releases, etc., etc. But if you read the magazine from the backside, the wrong side, you had to turn it upside down, and it was like a little retro section, about 20% of the magazine, and it could be anything from, hey, look at this cool art that people are doing in New York, or there's like new games coming out and these game jams they're having in, I don't know, Korea, doing crazy retro games, yada yada. And in one episode, one magazine, they had an article about this For the Frog, the Bell Tolls, For the Frog, Who Bell Boom, whatever. And I was like, just like you said earlier in the pod, that when you see the game, you make resemblance with Link's Awakening, and that was my first impression as well. And it was a lot of text. I think it was maybe 6 or 8 pages text about the game, or how we didn't get it outside Japan, what the story was about. No spoilers or something like that. Just like, hey guys, here's a really hidden Game Boy game that nobody played. And I was like, damn, I need to play this. This game looks so friggin' good. And I have tried other hacks, translation, etc., on emulators. But I actually went onto eBay and looked if there were any reproduction cards. And I found a repro cart in England. And with the custom control at the borders, we have to pay extra money when we order stuff outside of Europe. That cart being in England was very convenient. It's fast shipping, no extra cost when I got it here. So I just ordered that card and I played the game, and I was like, this is the best Game Boy game I've ever played when I first saw the credit screen. So yeah, that's how I found out about the game. Fast forwarding a couple of years to my stream here on Twitch, I told everyone that I'm pretty unsure if Link's Awakening or For the Frog the Bell Tolls is my favorite Game Boy games. I can't really decide with those two, but seeing how I was supposed to stream both games on Twitch, I had like a new opportunity to compare the two games. And when credits rolled for the second time on For the Frog the Bell Tolls, I gotta say that Link's Awakening is the better game. But it's a close race for me. It's such unique experience both games are.
Yeah, I mean, when I played the game for the first time, when I saw Mo play it, however long ago that was, like one of his first playthroughs of it.
Yeah, 3 years ago.
Yeah,
definitely.
I picked it up then. I played it on an emulator, and I finished it, but I was pretty like hesitant on finishing it because at the time I wasn't really into casually playing those types of games. I was more into like retro speedrunning, and that's how I wanted to play a game. And like fast forward again, now I've played it on the Japanese version halfway through, and I beat the English translation somewhat recently. And hot take here, I'm personally not a huge fan of Link's Awakening to begin with. It's more so that like Zelda is my favorite gaming series, and Link's Awakening is so far off the beaten path of the actual like canon Zelda, I feel that it's just like I don't respect it as a Zelda game. But putting them side by side, I would say also that Link's Awakening is the slightly better game towards for the bell, the frog told, whatever, it's Froggy Game.
Froggy Game.
And I think purely because like since Link's Awakening came out after Froggy Game, it had a chance to get a bit more polished out. Because like when I played Froggy Game, like the side-scrolling sections where you have to jump over pits, and jump onto platforms, like some of those jumps were a little rough. Some of the controls, like the edge clipping, the corner clipping, and whatnot, was a little rough. And that was definitely got smoothed out in Link's Awakening.
Mm-hmm.
But when I first played it, I honestly didn't put the comparison to Link's Awakening to Froggy Game at all. Because like I felt like I spent most of my time in the overworld of Link's Awakening, where everything was like the slightly top down moving around section, and like Froggy Game for me was mostly like just like side scrolling platforming action type deals. Like I didn't put the two together until the second time I played it, and I was like, oh wait a minute, I'm like, these two games are near identical in play style.
It's an awkward comparison to do.
It is.
It's like comparing every game that has ever been done in the Unreal Engine, and like saying, yeah, this game is better than that game. Yeah, but it's not even
true.
the same genre. But we have to do like that comparison in some strange way.
It's very true. I would say my one favorite thing in Froggy Game though is the combat. I absolutely think the combat system is fantastic.
Yeah, we have to address that one. So. Go on, explain it.
So the combat system is basically you walk into a sprite and you get into a brawl, and you don't press buttons to fight like you typically would in a normal like video game where you press the A or the B button to fight, you guard, pick your spell. you literally walk into a sprite, and then you have like the fighting animation, like the broad cloud animation you would in like an old cartoon. And then if you're more powerful than the person or the thing that you just walked into, you win. If you're less powerful than it, you lose. It's perfect.
Yeah, you can, for people who haven't played this game but have played the East series, the first few games that came out also didn't have a real battle system. All you had to do was literally walk into an enemy, and you would deal damage and you would receive damage from an enemy. That's the way you leveled up your character and stuff like that. So the more you fought, the stronger you got. This is kind of similar, but there's nothing like experience points or like other armors or other swords that you can equip to do more damage. What you actually need to do is find some stones that give you either more hearts or more attack power, and then you can actually defeat a higher leveled, I guess I could say, enemy. It's a really cool system for sure. It also makes sure that once you cross an enemy that you can't defeat, it kind of gives you the immediate idea like, hey, I forgot something in a previous area. I should check that out to see if I can find an upgrade so I can actually progress through the game, so you don't get lost too much. So that's a pretty good way to keep you on track, even though it is basically an open world game.
I kind of compare it roughly to a point-and-click adventure as well. Not in the sense that you move a cursor around and do stuff, but it's like a little part of the game is the same principle as a point-and-click game, I'd say. Or am I wrong?
Well, no, I'm trying to make the comparison. So you mean with like a point and click, like you basically follow the path of the enemies and the treasure, and like you just basically walk into them, wait for a sequence to happen, and then just move on to the next? Or?
Yeah, something like that. And you need item B to unlock door C.
Sure, yeah, and I can see
that's a little different from like the original Zelda series, or even games like Mario, when you just run to the exit. You can't really do that here. You have to find the right stuff to progress.
That is true. Like there's one point in the game, I don't remember how late into the game, where you have like 3 pitfalls, and they're not death pitfalls, but they're drops, and like 2 of them lead to like this tank where there's just like 3 fish or whatever there is, just waiting to eat you or whatever. But there's like nothing in there at all, so you have to take the long way back around again. Mm-hmm. And then the 3rd pitfall like is one you want to take, but as like a blind player of the game, like you would never know to take that. You would never know to fall down those pits. So as you keep going across this other room, like you fight this thing that you honestly shouldn't fight at all, because it would just beat you down so fast. And so you have to take like the try, like, oh, I'm gonna go down this hole. Well, I have to go back around. I'm gonna go down this hole. Well, this is the same hole I just fell down. It's like, so there's a lot of that as well in the game too, which I personally find that tedious at times, but I feel like this game actually did a somewhat decent job of it, because it usually rewarded you if you chose the right path. So I don't know. I thought the game was. I personally like the combat system. Mo, what do you think about the game?
Well, I think this is an excellent game. I think the first time that I heard about it was when Nudua, who you people may know from the Mega Man community mostly. Yeah, or from the Nudua laser, which he kind of doesn't want anybody to know about anymore. But let's just mention it yet again. But yeah, so I think he suggested it for me to play. He was also always talking about Froggy Game in my chat, and I was like, what are you talking about? I have no idea. Until he actually gave me the English fan translation, so I played it for my system challenge back when I first started 3 years ago. And I recently revisited it because I lost. Well, I didn't lose, I just forgot to highlight my first 100 games like a complete idiot. So I had to redo all those games, and this was luckily one of them, because I love this game. maybe to dive a little bit more into the game, because this is actually something we skipped earlier. I don't know how that happened, but this is we kind of talked about it, but it is a top-down adventure game in the style of Link's Awakening for sure. We
did skip that.
Yeah, we did skip that. For people who are still wondering, what game are they actually talking about right now? But yeah, it's a top-down adventure game in the style of any 2D Zelda game. We talked about the battle system just a few minutes ago, so that's how that works. And I think it's a fantastic game on its own. I think how you progress through it is pretty fun to do, but it's not really a challenging game at all, to be fair. Once you find the necessary upgrades, you can kill the enemies. So that's how you progress through the game. But you first start off as a human character with some capabilities, like you can jump, you can fight normal enemies and stuff like that. But after some time, you actually get turned into a frog, which makes you able to, of course, swim underwater and do some higher jumps than you would normally be able to do if you were a human. And after that, you get another transformation, actually. It's a snake form, and that gets used to get through some other areas where there are snakes, because the snakes are basically the bad guys in this game, and they want to eat the frogs. And the actual evil doer in the end is a big snake who just wants to feed. That's basically what the plot is. So it's a pretty cool mechanic that the game uses you to make use of your human form, your frog form, and your snake form, and combine these to do some environmental puzzles and some battling puzzles. So that's basically what this game is, and I think that's really cool. It's something that, at least at that time, was not done before. Maybe besides Wonder Boy the Dragon's Trap. I'm not sure if this came out first or that game. But that is like a similar thing where you have different forms that have different abilities, so you can progress through the game, and that's something.
Yeah, one really cool thing with the frog and the snake is that they have abilities, kind of like the comparison to Wonder Boy there. Because I don't know, it's kind of in the hour where you get the frog form, and you're supposed to fight your way through like hordes of insects. And the human form is just too weak to defeat all those insects. But the frog eats them up in one go and actually get heals while doing it. So it's kind of cool how they're not, the frog is not just there to jump high. He can do other stuff. And the snake got things going on later in the game as well that we maybe don't want to spoil right here.
But I mean, like, there's limited use items too while you're a frog and a snake as well.
Yeah, those items get used to actually transform back into your normal form, or to transform into one of the other forms. You can buy them in the shop, but after a while, when you defeat enemies on the overworld map, they just drop those items and stuff. So it's you never actually, at least I didn't. I never ran out of any of them, but there's always a good way to farm them, so you have enough. But yeah, most of the game takes place in the overworld, but all the dungeons are in the side-scrolling, platforming kind of way that you have to do those. And here is actually my biggest gripe with this game. There are some platforms in the game where if you stand on them, they fall down. Something very typical in all platform games. But this game has, I don't know what it is. It has some kind of input lag when you are on those things, which make you fall down immediately. It has something to do with you can't be pressing jump while you fall on the platform. You have to like release the button jump and then push a directional button. It's something like that. But there is a part of the game where you literally fall into lava if you can't make a jump, and then you have to do an entire big section again just to get through there. If you watch my latest playthrough, I got stuck for 15 minutes there because I couldn't figure out how to do the jump off that platform. So that's one of my biggest gripes with this game.
The issue with those platforms, I had a very similar issue with those platforms too. The issue with those platforms is when it starts to fall, even though your character appears to be on it still, you can't jump because you're in a falling animation. It's awful. Mm-hmm. Like it's bad.
Yeah, they definitely fixed that in Link's Awakening. So thank God.
Oh man. So yeah. Did you guys know there's speedruns of this game?
There are, but they're pretty long. That's pretty much all I know.
They're pretty old too.
yeah. It's not a game that first is known a lot still, even though a lot of people love it. But I don't think a lot of people have tried speedrunning it. Yeah,
the most recent run is 8 months ago.
That's
which
okay.
Which is semi recent, but before that was 2 years ago. Yeah, not a lot of love for the game. It only has one category, 80% warpless. I love speedrunning category names so much. I can go on a rant about them for about 3 hours with author blues. But like we always say, speedrunning is not a huge focus of this podcast by any means. But I mean, the fact that there is a leaderboard and there's 5 runs up for the game is actually pretty cool.
But talking about speedruns, and some of our listeners might be curious about how many hours do I have to put into this game to complete it?
How long did it take me to beat it blind? It took me, I think, about 8 hours blind to beat it.
Okay. Yeah, it took me 5 hours both times, so yeah, it's not too bad.
I think I was around 8 hours as well.
So yeah, anything between 5 and 8 hours, I guess.
But I mean, like the runs themselves is about 2 hours, but I don't know how optimized this game is. I'm assuming it's not very optimized if only 5 people have ran it. So,
yeah, but there's a lot of scripted events in this game that you can skip and that take a lot of time. So, unlike Link's Awakening, I'll compare it to that speedrun. There's a lot of things you can actually skip in the game. There's a lot of sequences you can break to make it go a little faster. In this one, it's really like half of the game is watching a movie and the other half is actually playing it. And I don't think there's any way, or at least those haven't been found yet to make those things go faster. So maybe you're actually speedrunning it for an hour and you're watching cutscenes for an hour. So it might be a chill thing to do, but it might also be pretty boring to do. Maybe that's why there's not that many runs of it.
I don't know. There is a task of the game, though.
There we go. Maybe that has warps or something.
Let's see here. Like this one, I don't know how good these tasks are either, but like this one's like an hour 27, and this other one is 87 minutes. I don't know what that is an hour. Hour 20. Yes. Hour 27, yeah. But again, like, don't base it off of a task. Like the task could have been done hastily or not super good or whatever else. So, but yeah, in terms of like, I don't know, it's cool that people have speedrun it. I don't know, it's neat. I see some familiar names on the leaderboard from just knowing them from GDQs or being in the Kirby community or just whatever. So,
yeah, it might be interesting. Some people like longer games to speedrun. So this might be a good one to actually dive into, maybe find some new stuff, and get that world record.
Should get it to the Link's Awakening community and see what they can do with the game.
If
the games are fairly similar.
Yeah, I actually don't know if they ever.
I doubt it. They're too much into Zelda. It's whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm friends with all of them, whatever. I used to run Link's Awakenings, whatever. So yeah, when we come back, we're gonna talk about some community events coming up, and talk more about video games.
Yup.
Welcome back, everybody. So, community events. I mean, I guess we'll mention the Tiny 10 since it'll be going on the day that this episode launches.
Hopefully.
So go to Speed Gaming 1, twitch.tv/Speed Gaming to watch the Tiny 10 at, what was it, 1 p.m. Eastern? And you can see our very own Grunt and Hero take first place in it.
Yeah.
Since I think he's the only one I've seen put in like a decent amount of practice into the list. We got Powered Up with Pride. Did you guys submit to that yet?
You know, I don't.
First time I'm
I
hearing
never
of the
submit
event.
anything, so.
You guys are letting me down. So Power Up with Pride submissions, I think, got extended another week, so you have until November 10th now, I think, to get a run in. It's December 6th to the 9th, and basically it's from the little bit I read about the marathon, it's a marathon that supports a charity for the LGBTQIA plus events. So I have a ton of friends that run this marathon, so I was like, I want to support my friends. So I think I submitted KDL. No, I did submit KDL. Oh man, I'm just an awful human being. I submitted Kirby Streamland with the donation incentive of Extra Mode. That's right. If you want to see Extra Mode, you guys get to pay for it. Kid Nicky Game Boy, because I hate my life.
Apparently.
And I submitted another Game Boy game, and I forgot what it was. It might have been Shin-Chan. It was probably a Shin-Chan game, to be fair. So we'll see if any of those get in. I know Legs wants to get Squidlet in, which is like a Game Boy-esque game on Steam. And I put some time into it. I don't know. If I can get my time to a sub 11, I might see if she wants to race the game. But I doubt I'll put any more time into it, to be fair. So yeah, I don't know. I think they have their own channel, but I don't know what the actual channel name is. Probably Power Up with Pride. I'm not 100% certain. But definitely, like, December 6th to the 9th, there's going to be a marathon, so definitely hop on Twitter, follow them on Twitter, look for my tweets, because I'll probably tweet out when I'm going to run or retweet when I'm going to run. So outside of that, I know we have like a Midwest, so like where I am in my local area, we have a speedrunning group here for the Midwest, and we have what the hell is it called? Midwinter Speed Fest, I think that it's being called, and that's in January, so definitely a ways out still. That I don't know if I'm going to submit to that or not, but that's an actual online event, so anyone I think around the world could actually submit to that. So definitely keep your eyes open on the Midwest Speed Fest channel for that. Outside of that, I don't have anything else. AGDQ coming up at the mid-start of January, whenever that is. It only has 2 Game Boy games, so I don't care. Like Dragon's Lair. Let's just be fair here.
Yeah,
I'm not going to watch Dragon's Lair. I've already watched it for Handheld Heroes and Big Bad Game of Thon.
Yeah.
Like,
it's not
outside
good.
it's not a great game. Outside of that, I don't have anything. I don't know of any other events, at least from the group of people that I hang out with in a way, which is probably the same group of people you all hang out with, except for Hero. He has a lot bigger network than we do.
Yeah, that's right.
But not when it comes to Game Boy.
Yeah.
That's fair. I don't know any expos or anything coming up. Like TwitchCon just happened, so like that GDQ Express thing happened. I don't even know if there were Game Boy games in that or not. I have no idea.
No idea.
I didn't watch it, so
I watched when I could, but then it definitely was not Game Boy. So
I forgot it was on. The only reason I knew it was on because the Yeti tweeted that they had shirts available for it, and I'm like, oh yeah, GDQ Express. Forgot about that. I don't know.
No, I think
that's all I got for community.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
It's towards the end of the year, so things are slowing down because people don't want to travel in winter. Not in America in a way, because it sucks.
Yeah, and all the holidays and such you have to incorporate, and people don't have time. So it's normal that this happens.
Yeah, it'll pick back up again like next year, like March, when there'll be like 14,000 tournaments going on again. Yeah. And I say that I'm going to retire from speedrunning. I end up joining the 14,000 tournaments and getting blown out of the water because I don't put time into practice.
Yeah.
So, like what happened to Super Mario Brothers 1. Oh, embarrassing. Died to the first Koopa in the first level.
Speaking of tournaments, have you already talked about the Mega Man 2
finals?
Right.
We haven't.
We have not.
We haven't. Yeah, that was a hell of a finals match. I watched
the tournament started this May, right?
Something like that, yeah.
I'm pretty sure. And the final were in like end of October. So it was a long tournament with one of the finalists hurting his hand carrying a luggage or something like that.
Yeah, those speedrun tournaments usually like drag on forever though. That's the issue with them. But that finals was amazing, honestly. Like just watching like those two go at it and just be so close, and just one minor mistake just make or break the actual race. Like it was insane. One of the best speedrunning races I think I've ever watched.
It was really fun because it was the winner of the normal brackets against the winner of the loser brackets. So it was Alpes against Andy Swee, who has the world record in Mega Man 2, of course. Andy had to win best of three to be able to compete for with another best of three to be able to compete for the title. And they did do both best of threes. It was so much fun to watch that.
Yeah, it was a lot of Mega Man Game Boy in one afternoon for me.
Yeah. Sadly,
I watched it at work.
Oh wow, okay, yeah. Sadly there were no soft locks though, so I was kind of disappointed.
No, but they were deaths.
there.
And Andy wrapped around.
Oh yeah, true. That was a weird one.
That was unfortunate. Yeah, that one was weird. Like he just wrapped like right to the beginning of Needle Man stage, and I was confused as to what happened. Mm-hmm. I saw the first mint boss. I call them mints because when they roll up, they look like a hard mint. And I'm like, oh, he's at the beginning of the stage. I'm like, I don't even know what just happened, but that's kind of like, it sucks that happened, but it's kind of amazing that happened in a race.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that.
Oh man,
I think Andy had seen it once before, maybe, but yeah.
Yeah, like
they knew about it, that it could happen.
Like he explained like how it happens, but he was like, yeah, I didn't think I was that low, and then he just does it, and he's like, well, whatever, you know. I don't know,
but it was fine. It was kind of fun to hang out in the speed gaming chat, seeing like 5,000 to 6,000 people there, and like, what is this game? Why is it black and white?
Yeah.
Well, this isn't Mega Man, but it's Mega Man.
Like
people were so confused.
Speed gaming got put onto the front page that day.
Yeah.
So like it was like 10,000 people watching the finals of Mega Man 2 Game Boy. Yeah, it's like
not even a good Mega Man game. Well, I mean, from a technical point of view, not a good Mega Man game, not a good Game Boy game, and then that gets front paged, of course.
Yeah, that was incredible to see that many people in the Speed Gaming channel for a Game Boy game. Like I've definitely seen that many people in the Speed Gaming channels for like the randomizers, like the Link to the Past, Super Metroid randomizers, and things like that, because those are popular. But I've never seen it for this like a vanilla game before. Yeah, it was really cool to see.
Good times ahead for the future of Game Boy, maybe.
Yeah. So, John Carlos, when's the next tournament that you're going to host? Because I know how much you loved putting this one on. The stress behind this one.
We should vote for a Revenge of the Gator tournament.
Oh, he's gonna hate us.
Yeah.
That never gets old.
Time estimate 45 minutes. Oh, okay. Oh man. Poor John. So yeah, anyway, do we have questions in Discord this time around?
Yeah, I'll pull them up here real quick. So our producer Lex asks the first question, which we kind of already answered, at least you two did. Which is better, this or Link's Awakening? So I guess I still have to answer this. Link's Awakening.
Yeah, Link's
Hands
Awakening.
down.
I feel Link's Awakening. The only reason Link's Awakening is better is because it came out after and
Yeah.
it polished some of the issues with the engine that Froggy Game had.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
I feel if they both came out at the same time, I would say that Froggy Game would have been better just from like a play style type deal. Like I just liked the game a bit more than Link's Awakening. But if you're talking bugs and we're talking smoothness, Link's Awakening is much better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Plus, they are kind of unique. Well, at least Froggy is kind of unique with all the mechanics they use. So, saying Link's Awakening is the better game does not mean that this is something you should not check out, because you really, really have to.
Oh, you should absolutely play this game. It's very good. Yeah. We have other questions. Aren't we supposed to answer these during the podcast? Yes. Let's see here.
There's some douche here as well that typed, "Sorry you have boring taste in games. Who is this eBloodyCandy?" Trolling the channel.
We got one from Pianist Man though.
Yeah.
Let's see here. How is this? Okay, I guess let's read this whole thing. Can't wait to hear it. Okay, played it casually for an hour or so last night and was weirded out by the Link's Awakening similarities. Auto battles threw me off, but I dig it. How was this not localized?
Yeah, that's actually the first question. This is something we just cannot answer. Like, I've asked around with people who actually speak Japanese or can read Japanese, but they couldn't find anything either. It was just a weird time back then when it came to porting games to different regions. Is there a real reason why this one did not get localized in different regions? Not that I can see, because like it doesn't obtain any like crude content that wouldn't fit well in like Western audiences or stuff like that. So I don't think that was a big problem, but I think they just decided to not do it. Period. Like,
yeah, I feel like it kind of falls into the whole like Nubo thing, where it's like Nubo only came out in Japan as well, but like if you watched the animes, if you played the games, like there is nothing crude about it. It's just it was a chance that the West would not understand it probably, and so they just didn't even try to release it to the West type deal.
Yeah, like we didn't mention this before, but this game does have like some silly things tied to it, just like your garden variety anime or manga. Like it is it stems from a serious story, but it makes fun of itself the entire time with silly jokes. Like there's like a running joke with the princess or with the witch, where the main character sees her as a beautiful woman, but then she's actually an ugly witch, and something like that. Maybe that wasn't fit for Western audiences back then, at least. But besides that, there's nothing too Japanesey in this game either, like something we wouldn't understand. The only thing I can think of on the top of my head is the wasabi. That was a thing that like pretty much didn't exist in Europe or in America during that time. Now everybody knows it, but yeah, it's weird.
But you know what's interesting is if Froggy Game came out in the West, would Link's Awakening use the same engine?
That's a very good question. Yeah.
Because like Link's Awakening obviously came out around the world, utilizing the same engine as Froggy Game. Like if Froggy Game went out around the world, would Link's Awakening still use the same engine? Like that's something to think about a little bit. Like we kind of got a little bit of Froggy Game via Link's Awakening.
But I would say yes, Link's Awakening should be under production when this game was released in Japan, I guess.
Yeah.
Or do you think that they released like Froggy Game and then it took a couple of months before they actually started Link's Awakening?
I guess I don't. When did Link's Awakening even come out?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure about this. Maybe like this team just made this game to have a game.
Link's Awakening came out in June of '93, so almost a year until Link's Awakening would come out.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Like it's just an interesting thought. Like they both share the engine, and we all know Link's Awakening so well, but none of us, no one really knows about Froggy Game. And it's like you look at the two, and they're very, very similar. So it's kind of interesting to think about. Like if Froggy Game would have made a worldwide release, like Link's Awakening obviously would have happened. Like there would have been a Zelda game on Game Boy, but like would it have been like it is now, or would it be some weird like side-scrolling thing like Zelda 2?
Yeah, because maybe they did it like this. They had Froggy Game, they had the engine, they started Link's Awakening, and then they thought to themselves, if we release Froggy Game worldwide, then Zelda Link's Awakening won't sweep people off their feet because we have already seen a game just like it, or something like that. So they didn't release it worldwide to get a better Link's Awakening release, or
have a jump start on sales. Yeah, that's a good thing too. Yeah, that's a good thought.
Yeah, sadly, we cannot reach out to the developers of the game because, well, they're Japanese. They probably would not understand our question to begin with. So that's kind of the sad thing about these Japanese-only released games.
I'll tweet Nintendo.
Or at least games that got made in Japan. It's easier, like if Rare or something or somebody made a game, we could possibly try and email them and hope that they would answer us. But yeah, for these kinds of games, it's kind of hard to do.
Yeah, like it's one of those. You have to hope the developer or someone on the original team is like either listening to the podcast or is looking at like tweets or following somebody that has these questions type deal. Like most of the time, they're not just come out of the woodwork and freely hand it out. So
yeah. There might have been an interview with the people who with actually the question, why did you guys not release it? But we cannot look it up, sadly.
Can't find it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Question for the podcasters. Oh, boy. Has anyone figured out the patterns that are possible for the enemies to appear on screen? Have you watched a speedrun of the game? I'm going to say those two questions kind of go hand in hand. I never put enough time to figure out patterns into the game. I just played it as a casual player. I have really no desire to speedrun this game because it's entirely too long for my taste. But I do like watching the game. For me, as of watching a speedrun, I've watched the first 5 minutes of the speedrun. It was just all cutscene.
Indeed, it's not that great to watch this speedrun, I guess, but this is definitely something we normally don't dive into in these speedruns. I never except when we already know the speedrun or that we did it ourselves or something. But this is a game we certainly have not dove into the speedrun of.
Yeah, I don't know anything about enemy patterns. Like I just walked into a screen, fought what I needed to fight, went back, and then just fight what I needed to fight. Like I never paid attention to enemy patterns or anything of the sort at all. I'm assuming there might be a way to manipulate patterns. I have no idea. If it's utilizing this same engine as Link's Awakening, you might want to poke some brains in the Link's Awakening community. Sikinar, Zorlak 7, people like that would definitely have a pretty deep knowledge of that game to begin with. So maybe they would give you some hints or some suggestions to see what you can do to try and like manipulate, if possible, the patterns on the screen. But have you guys watched the speedrun of this game at all?
No.
Like I didn't watch a full run. Like I watched like I think I watched I wouldn't say like 10 or 15 minutes of the speedrun. Just so I can see like what it was. And it was literally just like as if I was playing, but playing like I knew the game type deal.
Yeah, no, I haven't watched it at all, no.
Nope, haven't watched it.
Yeah, that's all the questions we had though. Good questions though. We need people to ask more questions around here.
Yeah, for sure.
If you all have any suggestions or other questions or thoughts of the podcast, we have a feedback survey now that I made. I haven't looked at it since I made it though.
Typical.
Because it's not that I forgot. I'm busy. I'm a busy person.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'll take a look at that either today or tomorrow and see what's going on with that. But if you guys have feedback, like there in our Discord, there's a feedback link. I don't want to put this in the comment section below for other people just to randomly click it and be the internet. So I think Mo might have tweeted out about it as well. So outside of that, we have a Discord. Please join our Discord. We have a pretty nice community going on in the Discord. I'm pretty happy with it. What else have we got going on with this podcast, Mo?
We have a lot going on. Again, like always, the best way to get in contact with us is by just going through to our website, which is gbrunners.com/TIGB. There you get the links to all of our social media. Our email address should be on there. Our Discord should be on there, so you can join through there. Also, like SoundCloud link, iTunes link, whatever else we are on right now. That's something Lex always does. She always takes care of making sure we are available on many different platforms, so you can find links there. If you have some time and if you're listening to this on iTunes, make sure that you actually maybe post a review about us. It always helps to put us higher in the charts or however they call it on iTunes, so that a lot more people can actually find us. And speaking of, I think it was either last episode or 2 episodes ago, I said thank you everybody for getting us to 300 listens, I believe. Either it's a month from that now, but we've doubled that up and we're almost reaching 700 listens, at least on SoundCloud, because that's what we can actually see. So again, thank you for all the new people who are listening to this. That is very much appreciated. Of course, before I dive into something else that I have been talking about a long time, and that finally is happening, Hero, where can they actually find you?
If anyone wants to get in contact with me, it's Granen_Hero at both Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. That would be the easiest
Instagram?
way. Or in the This Is Game Boy Discord, because I'm part of that.
Oh man, Hero has Instagram.
Right.
I'm gonna follow him real quick. 1 second.
Yeah, I actually made it easier for people to find me on Twitter. Finally. So now if you are looking for me, you can find me on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter under the same name, which is Moelle. But again, nobody knows how to actually write that, so it's still hard, and you better just go through the website. But it's Moelleuh, so no more nostalgamia and stuff like that. It's all just
We did it, everyone! Oh my god! And then you can find me at eBloodyCandy on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and on Instagram. Although I don't post on Instagram very often. And then definitely follow our amazing producer Legs. I think it's SprintingLegs on Twitch and Twitter.
at least Twitch.
YouTube as well?
Maybe
YouTube as well. It's either Legs or SprintingLegs on YouTube.
Yeah.
Sorry, Legs. I'm trying to promote you. And then we have Patreon as well.
Yeah, that's the thing I was saying.
Oh, that's the thing you're gonna do. Oh, look at that, dude! What a segue, dude! It was planned, scripted.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, we finally set up our Patreon. So if anybody wants to support us by giving us your well-earned money, you can now do that. At the moment, we have 2 tiers. We got just a $1 or up tier, which has a few benefits. You can vote for listener selected episodes in the future, and you can actually access our notes, our episode notes. So you can read them. EBC set them up on a nice little mini website where you can read through them. We still have to update some of them because some are missing information that I actually had, but I didn't put on the notes. And we're kind of working out the template, I guess, of it a little better. So it's easier to read and such. But yeah, you can access that. And then we have our second tier, which is $5 and up. Which actually gives you the ability to suggest games for the listener selected episodes, and someday soon you will also be able to have access to bloopers of us. Lex keeps putting them all together, so we will release some track with some bloopers of all the previous episodes in points of time. I would say we might do that after 10 episodes. I think that's the easiest way to do that. And we do have like other plans in the future, but we haven't set that up. But our first goal, at least on Patreon, is $20 a month, and then we will always record these episodes live, actually, unless we really cannot. But yeah, that's our first goal.
That's a nice goal.
Yeah.
I just the only episode you did live recording, I think me and Emily watched like the last 15 minutes maybe, and we really enjoyed it. It was a fun time.
Yeah, that was a learning experience to figure out how to capture Mo and myself, both our mics, and like it was very much a learning experience. And knowing what I know now, I can get it set up and running a lot smoother. But yeah. Shout outs to learning. And shout outs to Mo for getting all the Patreon stuff figured out, because like I didn't want to put the time into Patreon at all.
Yeah, it was a mess.
And after time, Patreon with Discord, like that was a nightmare. Like I did the Discord side of things for Patreon, and that was just an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, everything was basically, because like I'm based in Europe and Patreon is based in the US, and then you have to sign papers for taxes and stuff like that. It was a mess to set it up, but I finally took some time and did it. Speaking of other things we set up, maybe to keep in mind for the future, we have been using the Monochrome City channel on Twitch and on Twitter so far for like tweeting out the new episodes and, well, doing the live recording. But we did set up an actual YouTube channel for This Is Game Boy and a Twitch channel for This Is Game Boy. Both are TIGB podcast, I believe, because apparently some person in the last few months actually took twitch.tv/This Is Game Boy. So thank you for that.
We're popular, man.
But yeah, we couldn't get that. So again, you can find all the links on our website for sure. But we are just separating it from the Monochrome City channel to make it easier to have everything in one cluster, actually. So
yeah, everyone is still in full affiliation with Monochrome City. Like the channel, like the podcast itself is an affiliation with it still, but for the fact of keeping things organized and separated out a bit, we decided to separate out the podcast itself, just because the audience that we could pull with the podcast may not be the same audience for Monochrome City itself, etc., etc. So
yeah, that was a lot to mention, but we did it.
Whew. Longest outro in the world. All right, so is there anything else going on with you, Hero? Going to any cons? Or
no, just like you said earlier, the end of the year is everything is slowing down. Next convention is Sweden. I think it's in February, but it's like a mini convention. And the big ones are coming back in like April and May. So yeah, this upcoming week it's all Tiny 10 practice for me. And my usual streams, of course.
Beating SMW. 96
yeah.
all coins.
That will probably happen this Wednesday on stream. And then I will stream full Tiny 10 practice on Thursday, just so that my viewers know that this Saturday is Tiny 10 8, so they won't miss it.
Then you get to play the greatest Super Nintendo game of all time, Chrono Trigger.
Trigger.
Cannot wait to watch that. So yeah, next time. Oh, we don't have a fun outro for the next episode. I blame Mo for this.
Hey, I already had a fun intro. Like
you chose the next game.
That's true. Or is it a lie?
I was supposed to say, is that a true lie?
See, we did it. We made a fun outro. Even. There we go. Thank you everybody for listening. Thank you, Hero, for joining us for this episode. If you're listening to this on Saturday, the 10th of November, you'll hear me and EBC later today on the Tiny 10 stream as commentators. And otherwise, EBC will be back for another light, and we will both be back in a month for our next game, True Lies. Goodbye.
Bye.
Which is just like a big gray block, or on the Game Boy screen, a big green block.